through my window pane. Dreams of stars, now a faint refrain. Coffee brews and thoughts collide in this early morning ride. Wake up world, let's start the day. Insight flows in a bright array. Questions dance like morning dew. In this space, it's me and you. Coffee chats with Melissa. Every cup is a whisper. Conversations open door. Spilling thoughts forevermore. Ideas bubble crisp and bright. Words take flight in morning light. Consult the heart, make it sing. New perspectives on each wing. Every thought becomes so clear. From stations and bubbling streams, waking up to brand new dreams. Coffee chats with Melissa. Every cup was a whisper. Conversation.
Good morning, guys. Listen, it has been a warm one in the Pacific Northwest. I don't know about you guys, but I'm under a heat advisory today, and that feels really unique for an Arizona girl who ran away from the heat intentionally, like with gusto. So, guys, if it's warm where you are today, make sure you're hydrating. I brought my water bottle and I thought, Melissa, you're a little excited about this resting thing. So maybe we should tighten that lid and move it to the left. So I did. I moved my water out of the way because truth be told, guys, I am really excited about this topic. I was going to skip this week. Full transparency. I was like, rest. Yeah, it sounds like a great idea. I want to do that. But genuinely, I wanted to not skip too much work this week, right? Finger quotes in the air, or this month, as it were, because I have a concert coming. We're going to Jelly Roll and Post Malone. And truth be told, it's a Thursday concert, but we're going to be in Seattle all weekend. We're going to make it a whole thing. And I'll be honest, I don't want to wake up at the hotel at 6 a.m. on a Saturday and try to figure out how we're going to coordinate. So I'm going to rest. Right? We're going to start with that. We're going to take a rest that week. And so we're a few weeks away from it, but just full transparency. I'm going to eat my own dog food, like Aaron would say. We're going to definitely take some of our own medicine. So that's where we're at right now. I'm really excited. Where are you guys? What are you doing? Are you just here? Are you laying in bed? Are you active? Let me know. So, if you're new to the show, my name is Melissa Ann Houston. I am the cultivator of dreams and motivator of human capital. And what that means is I help people like you try to figure out who they want to be when they grow up and get a plan of action to get there. Sometimes it's just more successful doing the thing you're already doing. Sometimes it's more clarity of why we're doing what we're doing. There's a million reasons my clients have worked with me, job transition, coaching while within the organization, trying to upskill, level up, done that. I've been a recruiter. I've run a few startups. I've helped lots of startups grow to successful points. I've helped others on LinkedIn grow their brands here too. There's not much I haven't done, which makes me unique. And that's why I would love to chat with you if you need some help. So go check out documentthenect.com, learn more about me. Also, can I just say, I don't give enough credit to this work here. My friends and I, we came together a little bit ago. I don't know if you guys have heard, but we wrote a few chapters together. My friend Nick and Guy Galindo, I can't talk, Galindo, the gifted bipolar writer, is our publisher. And she took many stories, combined them into some fantastic literature, and it's available on Amazon. I was in book 2 of a trilogy. I was a people first professional networking platform. We came as professionals. We make impact as people. And really it's, we all came to LinkedIn to do something, find a job, grow a business, sell some stuff, right? I used to be one of those terrible DM, here, buy now. Yay. And there's transition there. And so read the story, check it out. Also a message to my family. Why do I do what I do? Well, it's in there too. Everything you want to know about me to get started with a get to know Melissa, it's there. And honestly, some of the people in the crowd are also in the books. If you guys are in the books, go ahead. Feel free to tell them which book you're in. Please. Right? So guys, that's a little bit about Melissa Houston. I hope that's good. If you have more questions, message me. We could do this. So let's get into the topic. Rest is an action. If you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I absolutely believe you need to slow down to speed up. When life gets heavy, when stuff starts to hit the fan, this is one of those quotes I love to pull out and say, hey, wait. Just slow down. And I got to be honest, it's like full slow down. I know that extra punctuation or, capitalization on the D wasn't, I thought about removing it and I was like, no, really, when I say it, I put a little emphasis there. So if you see it, that's what that is. Because genuinely, how often do we slow down? People think, oh my gosh, I have to get up. I have to get moving. I have to insert here. And I'm one of those people who gets after you if you don't do your have to list. But I also get after you if you don't tell me rest is on your list. If you're one of my clients and you're not actively engaging your self-care routine, you're going to get, I don't want to say yelled at, maybe an eyebrow, maybe a little bit of a ma'am kind of thing going on. But genuinely, we forget to do this, right? And you might have heard people, I remember especially in my youth, maybe people had said this to me. Just give it a rest, miss. That was my mom's favorite line, I swear, when I was about 6 or 7. Everything was why. To be honest, if you know me, I'm still who, what, where, when, whys all the time. But have you ever been told, give it a rest? Or have you ever said it to somebody else? Even if you just kind of said it mentally, right? Like, just give it a rest, Sally. Whoever it is sitting next to you in the cubicle with her fish in the microwave, whatever it is. Have you ever felt that, right? And why is that something that we would say? When I think about these things, to slow down, to speed up, to give it a rest, to how, I'm an action person. I'm a growth coach. Why would that make sense? So what did I do? I do what I do normally with the shows. It was 4:30 a.m. on a Saturday morning. I go to ChatGPT and I was like, I have a show today. These are the things I'm contemplating. Things that rest to get better. It's like, think about examples from bread to the athlete to, and I gave it a few other prompts, right? So what I did next was just copy over the stuff. So all of this came from ChatGPT, full transparency. But truth be told, guys, there's a lot of things that we know genuinely rest. We've talked about how when you plant a seed, it's at rest under the soil. You're not going to see it in action. It's literally not even moving. Now, is there growth happening anyway? Absolutely. Oh, I love this, Aaron. I see this. I'm strongly encouraged. This is in reference to the eyebrow when I'm like, hey, I'm not yelling. I'm just telling you, slow down. Sit down, slow down or screwed up. Like mom would say when you're running through grandma's house or something, right? I just have to say though, like I love what ChatGPT brought, and I really wanted to share some of these concepts with you. So things that can rest. As somebody who lived in the Midwest for a few years, I can tell you soil, crop rotation. You let your soil rest after it has fed a few sessions of crops, right? And so you actually rotate your fields. There are fields that just sit in rest some years because they need to be replenished of their nutrients before they can carry another crop. So that's cool, right? Just the ground itself needs rest. Caterpillars, we all know butterflies. Ooh, if you don't go in, you don't and rest, you never come out as a butterfly. Stars, this was kind of cool, right? Neutron stars collapse after burning out. They rest and then they're reborn. I didn't know stars were reborn. I don't know why I didn't know that. Maybe I just never had that clear right there in one space. But I was like, ooh, even stars are cyclical. That's kind of cool. Okay. Bears and other hibernators, right? Yogi Bear. Hey, boo-boo. You go in and hibernate for winter. And I got to be honest, that is how I was able to successfully do this with my friends. Excuse me, my throat, it's just not ready yet. This morning, when I was thinking about the different phases of life where I've rested in, I'm currently in a finger quotes rest phase, right? I have been used to being the highest level of a business under the ownership. I have been the person who the owners turn to say, I don't understand how to do this. I'm hiring you to do it. You just give me updates and words I understand. Here is my checkbook. Have a nice day. And that's a really cool job, but it's a lot of stress and it's a lot of pressure, especially if you have accountability issues and hold yourself to a high work ethic for people you work with, right? You really want to help them to your best. And if it's not a heck yes, then it's a no for now. And I really get into this. And so I ran a few businesses for the owners. There's some that are out there still successful. Others have closed, right? Life happens. But every time I've learned, I've grown, and I've rested. Now, most recently, the reason I needed to rest, my mom had passed away. It's coming up on an anniversary here in August. I get to be in Arizona again on that anniversary. I'm kind of excited to be where she is on that day. I'm going to be hanging out with Jackie, which is cool. We're doing the Emotional Women down there. We're trying to get some speaking stuff lined up while we're there and do some team engagement. Really cool. But I'm in a rest phase. Do you remember? Rest. I also helped co-author 2 best-selling books. They went international bestsellers in my rest phase. In my rest phase in this retail environment where I'm not the big boss anymore, where I'm slowing down to speed up, I'm number 4 in the nation for my role. Store manager, number 4 in the nation. And to be honest with you, I'm still new to the industry and I don't even ride a motorcycle. So to serve at that level without actually experiencing it firsthand, right? Those who can't do teach kind of thing. I'm selling, I don't ride. Now, the reason I don't ride is arthritis, which slows me down also. So when I think about rest, sometimes I do it without permission, right? Volcanoes, they're dormant and then they're explosive. That's cool. I didn't want to miss that last one. But think about different things nature gives to rest, right? Rest phases that naturally have to happen for growth to continue to occur. We move on to food, dough, right? I mentioned it earlier. You have to let your bread dough rest or it's not going to rise and it's not going to get strong. And there's a bunch of stuff that the yeast and the gluten and the sugars and the everything do while it sits there. And so can we just bullet point this, write it down? Just because you're resting doesn't mean the action stopped. Think about that. You can Rest after hitting send on an email, and action is still going to occur while you're resting. You can stop mixing dough, put it to rest, go take a nap, and it's going to work without you. You've done the work for that perpetual motion, right? Even though you're resting, there is action around you. You have rippled into the universe, to the world, to your business, to your staff, to your family, whatever that ripple is. And now you can just wait for it to come back. Have you ever jumped into the middle of a pool and just stood there and waited for the waves to hit the walls and then come back to you? Think about that visually, right? That is action at rest. Just because you stop moving doesn't mean the world did. And that's true everywhere, all the time. Athletes, right? Their muscles are rebuilding as they're resting. Any good athlete, trainer, any of them, right? Any of them who have focused on being the best type of athletic machine you can be will tell you a rest day is vital. A cheat day is vital to a good diet, right? Because your body gets too used to that cycle and you have to take a rest from the habit. Minds, take a nap, sleep. You have to rest every night. It's really hard on your body if you don't. And when you do rest, a ton of stuff happens. I'm not a doctor. None of this is medical advice, but darn it, if you don't go Google how rest can affect your health, you'll find tons of research of people who are way more qualified than I to tell you why it's important and what happens if we don't get it. Paint, right? I love to paint. I don't know about you guys, but I love to paint. And sometimes I want to be Bob Ross immediately. And sometimes I'm not using the paints he was using. You can't layer acrylic at the same rate as you can oil, right? And honestly, oil takes forever to dry if you're going to have it dry. It's really one of those things, and you don't really ever want it to get too dry. But you think about paint on your house. You don't want to touch it for a while. Cars. There's a drying phase in every manufacturing facility I walk through where I used to staff for them. I would hire the manufacturing teams, right? And so I know what the rest zone looks like. I've stood in it. It was kind of cool. It was really smelly too. Tea leaves. How long do you let your iced tea sit in the sun if you're in the South? How long do you let your bag steep in your cup, kind of thing, right? I don't want to go through all of this, but I really want you to think about the different things in your life that you let sit and rest in between sessions. They happen and occur every day. And I'll be honest with you. Are you a fan of leftovers? Do you eat leftover? # team leftover if you're in. But I really love that when you're cooking, for me, the soups, the pasta dishes, the baked goods that sit in the fridge, like I'm making enchiladas again for a bike night. I mean, backed by popular demand, my customers are demanding last month's recipe return. And so I'm going to do that. But what's really neat is I always do the food prep the night before because I do the casserole style. I'm a big fan of batch cooking. And when you're feeding almost 100 people, doing it in a casserole dish style is really easy, right? Oh, easier. I don't want to say easy. It's not easy for everybody. But for me, it's easier. So thinking through that, I do the enchilada casserole and I will hand fry the corn tortillas. I mean, I literally do it the right way. It takes hours. And when you layer each batch and then put it together, I let it sit in the fridge overnight and they just kind of rest together, getting to know each other, hanging out, getting cozy, cuddling, right? And the next day when we bake it, it's fantastic. But I'll be honest, even that third day is my favorite. It's the day after we've cooked it, the day after the day of rest. And it's probably the last day I'm going to eat those enchiladas, but it's the most delicious day for me. Have you ever waited to eat and it's better as it goes, right? Same thing with cooking up ideas. Have you ever been a person who does shower thought processes? Right? Where somehow, some way, when you're in the shower, boom, magic happens. Maybe on a car ride, you have to pull over right? Michael, I heard your song last night. Guys, go check that out. I was listening to Noni's show and it was a fantastic song, I got to tell you. But think about those moments. When do you slow down and when does it hit you? When you're watching television and you're kind of mindless, numbless, Netflix and hanging out or whatever, chilling. Where's Felipe? He's going to love that. Is it when it hits you the most? Because I'll be honest, when I play my mindless games, the puzzle games, the ones that aren't using the words in my brain, but they're just using strategy and I'm color matching and it's almost like automatic for my brain. That's when the best creative ideas come. I was playing my game when I was thinking about how, hey, I want to take some time off this month. And usually I take a month off of LinkedIn and I haven't done it this year. And maybe I should, and I'm just winning games there, right? I'm just playing the game. But that's when rest came to be the idea. And then I started thinking about all the ways and bread to athlete. And then I was like, cool, let me just put this first slide into Canva and let me go back to resting in my game. But I love that, right? I had some ideas for different journals and planners I want to do in the future. There's a notes app. I know you guys do this. How do you document your creative ideas and when do they hit you? Sachis Kumar says, not a taco fan, but love Mexican food. Some flavors remind me of grandma's food. You know, there's a lot of comparable seasonings that go into different dishes. And honestly, I believe there's a version of a sandwich or a taco in every kind of culture, right? It's almost the same thing. The way we eat it, it's a little different, but I mean, even a hot dog could be considered a sandwich. We could argue that another day. Let's get back on. But creative ideas, right? When do they hit you and how do they hit you? I always think it's when you're in a state of rest, even if it's not necessarily resting completely, right? You're not just loafing on the couch. Maybe you're at the gym. Maybe you're playing tennis. Maybe you're like me. I love racquetball. There's something aggressive about the action in that room and it never slows down and it's always on the go. And that's still a place of rest for my brain when I'm not sitting in front of a computer screen, when I'm not sitting in front of my cell phone, right? I'm doing something different. And so it gives my brain rest in the way it usually plays. Same with emotions. How often do you leave that emotion you feel most consistently? That's one that, you know, emotional women, I don't know. Here, wait, let me just, if you guys haven't heard, let me show you. I'm part of a dynamic duo here. We tackle emotion. And I just want to clarify, emotional women, what does that mean? We are two women. We have both been accused of being emotional. We both believe all of us humans are emotional, and we wanted to take the stigma out of the emotional women, right? The you factor out of emotion. We wanted to do that. And we're using this as a great marketing gimmick, but also because it's facts. We have emotions. You can see it on our face, and we are women. And so, you know, even there, we're resting, even then. But how often do you shift from one emotion to another? How often do you go from having a bad day to dancing in the car? How often do you laugh till you cry? That's one of my favorite things to do, to be honest with you. Sally Fields is probably responsible, right? Steel Magnolias, have you ever seen it? Sorry, I went too far back. They were talking about laughter through tears is my favorite emotion. And truth be told, I love that transition phase. That from the dark to the light, from the light, sometimes to the dark, right? Just sometimes going into those places, those jack-in-the-box moments we've talked about. Guys, emotionally, I call them my jack-in-the-box moments, that dun, 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 dun. And you're like, ooh, I don't like the sound of that. I know what's coming. Dun, 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 dun. Da, 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 da. Ah! Right? Sometimes we pull those traumas out, those things that make us pop emotionally. And sometimes it's really good to do it, especially if you're doing it with a friend, somebody you can express your emotions with safely, a therapist, a family member, a coach. But make sure that you address them all, right? And give them a rest period. Even fun is too much fun. You guys have seen Disneyland be amazing at 10 a.m. By 10 p.m., the same family is a completely different emotional set. You got to take rest. If you go for that nap midday at Disney, it's a game changer, right? Think about that. So conversations. How many times have you been in the middle of a conversation? You're like, you know what? Let's give it a rest. Let's just come back. We'll circle back to this. Let's come back to this next week. And you know it's just to give space, time, cool it down, right? Maybe you don't have the data. Hey, I love this idea in the meeting, but we don't have the space and time in this meeting today. Let's put a pin in it until next week. Let's bring our data with us while we do, right? So think about different ways you even pause life. Hey, Mom, can I go to the movies on Friday? I don't know. Let's talk to Dad. We'll decide by Wednesday. Decisions, right? The sleep on it, same thing. We'll decide by. Put a deadline on it, sure. But then let it go. Hey, I got to go shopping this weekend. Let me write my shopping list and then let it go. You're not going to keep thinking about shopping if the list is in your purse, in your wallet, and you know it's ready. It's in your notes app. You're good. Now you could just go do your life. And then trauma healing, right? Sometimes you just shove that stupid clown back into the Jack in the Box. You push that box back to the wall. You leave the room. You lock it in. You lock the door and you run away from the house and you don't go back into that house for years. Some people do that. Don't let it be too long though, right? Like if you start feeling like you're not feeling anything, dive back into that emotion. Emotions have to shift. It can't be everything. So rest where you need it and don't when you don't, right? But think about how you're growing yourself. I really loved some of these visuals because I was trying to give you guys that same kind of feeling that I get. Like, what is it that I'm really trying to say to people? And what do I do for a living? And this actually is exactly how I feel. If I had to explain to you what I think I'm doing when I speak to you guys, this is it. This is my show. I just want to pour a little something on something you're already working on, right? I am not the plant. I am not the seed. I am not you. All I'm doing is throwing a little water on it and giving it a little extra something, right? And sometimes that's glitter on something that's already existing, right? It's your art. I'm just putting a little sparkle on it. Sometimes I'm the cherry on the sundae, but sometimes I'm just giving you a little bit of water. A little bit of something, right? And when do you do that for you? What does it look like? How do you do this if you're the person on the ladder and you're also the person being poured into? I mean, genuinely, I sat with this image. I rested with this image for a good 5-10 minutes, just really contemplating it. And I didn't know if I was just too early in the morning, right? 4:30 in the morning doing Canva images from like a dead sleep, do your puzzles on LinkedIn, say your quick prayers, and then get into Canva. And this one hit me the most. How do you pour into yourself? Some of the things that rest that aren't just us, right? Wine and whiskey. If you like alcoholic beverages, you know there is an aging process to get the flavor, right? There is years of rest. Sometimes, especially when I'm hearing wine, right? I've heard of the vintage and how important that year is. It's never last year's wine they're most excited about. Never. Right? Friendships. How many times do you come apart from a friend, you get back together and it feels like you're stronger than ever, you're closer than ever. Nothing really changed, but it did. And it feels great to be able to pick up right where you left off. Clay, right? I was watching the news. There's some buildings in Europe that are self-healing from water. I was like, that's really cool. But clay has to dry before the water can really do the healing too. I started looking into this, right? It initially has to be set and then the stone started to strengthen itself. And I was like, that's really cool. My daughter just did a project. She's in an art class. She brought 2 projects home. It's getting to be the end of the school year. They're running out of time in the classroom. She wanted to make sure her projects were done. Pretty intricate. My kid's an artsy kind of girl. And so having it come home, she had to set it outside in the sun to let it start baking a bit to hold together so she could transport it back. Same concept. Perfume, It smells better after that initial blast. And the same thing with cologne. We don't want to smell you as the bottle sits, but after your body has rested with it, after it does that mixing, the pheromones, the hormones, everything start working, you start appreciating it differently. Music, guys, music. There's some people in the comments that like to do music, right? And I started thinking about Mozart and Beethoven and how long their music rested somewhere in the back of a room, in somebody's mind, in somebody's basement, or in their playlist somewhere long ago. Paper playlists, right? Written music that they would play during events on a piano. And how over time it has become a staple of social media marketing. And it also is something that I feel as time goes on, it becomes more profound for me as it rested, right? But that's not even what this gave the example of. It was the rest, the pause, the moments of transition in the music that really give it power, right? When you think about the classical, it is always that graceful, then crescendos, and then it's just really cool. I didn't, really think about the clouds resting in the atmosphere, but yeah, man. That's how they're formed. It's water getting denser and denser above us, right? And when you think about the formation of clouds and just rest long enough to see the clouds, your creativity kicks in, and then all of a sudden you're seeing shapes and fun. There's so many ways you can look at this. And then dreaming. Have you ever had that deja vu moment? We've talked about it. Have you ever dreamt of something, then boom, there it was? Sometimes resting allows you to see what you've already seen come to fruition. Also, shout out to cheese. Wine and cheese, right? And also, some of these things go up in value as they rest. I gotta be honest, I'm a big fan of cheese. I would love to think of myself as cheese. Sometimes I'm just cheesy, and that's okay too. But genuinely, what if we get better with age? What if our value goes up over time? It seems like that's the thing, right? Your expertise, your knowledge growing over time. What if your rest too, right? We've put so much value on rest that we paid a vacation. We put so much value on rest that's what everybody's striving for, right? Everybody wants to be on that warm beach with their feet up in the chair and the umbrella. And I don't know if the umbrella is in your drink or the chair or both, but there's a common goal. A lot of people want to rush to rest. There was a story I heard one time, and I don't know where I heard it, and I feel bad about it, but I take in a lot of content. So could have been somebody else's podcast maybe. But it was a story of a man being in overseas. I want to say it was Japan, but there was a fisherman, and he was just happily working along, doing a great job, fed himself well. And this businessman was like, oh man, with your passion, with everything I saw, you could really do great. He's like, okay. And he's like, well, so let's start a business. And he says, well, why would I want to start a business? He's like, because we can build this business out, and you can feed more people, and you can do these things. And he kept talking about this growth mindset, which I'm not mad at. I'm not mad at. But long story short, the fisherman gave clarity back to the business owner, because the business owner's end goal was to be able to sit on the beach like him with his family, rest and enjoy. And he's doing that now. The fishing is his rest. He gets to feed his family and his friends with the fish he catches now. He doesn't have to work harder to enjoy the same lifestyle today. It's just a mindset of you will only enjoy it if. And that's not true, guys. You can enjoy life right now. When I think about the life I wished I had growing up, it was picnics in the park. It was time at the beach. It was family vacations. It was experiences together. Nothing stops you today from going to make that happen. I can go right now and decide I'm going to go to water. Maybe it's a lake, maybe it's a river. I can still be finger quotes beachside by the river, but I could be by the water with my family. Now I'm lucky enough to live by the ocean, and I'm going to just be honest, there was intention there too. I wasn't raised here, but I wanted it. And now there's public parks all around me where I can go enjoy this with very low entry. I just drive in. That's it. I have peanut butter and jelly always available in the house. We can go and do that, right? That's easy. Now, people who come visit Bellingham may see me and go, oh my gosh, I want her lifestyle. Well, why do I have it? Because I decided to make a peanut butter and jelly and go sit at my local park. I just happen to have a cool one. What does rest look like for you? What was success when you were a kid, and what did it look like? Did it look like hustle culture? Did you want to see people running all the time? Was it nonstop meetings? Was it your cell phone beeping? Because I'll be honest, when I was a kid, they weren't advertising a cell phone nonstop in a movie. Never talked about it, really. It was kind of cool. Some of the movies started to have some cell phones in it, but it was just the big wigs on Wall Street that had those things. I never imagined they would come with me to a park. Right? When do you slow down? Other things to think about, guys, ideas and visions. A lot of corporate offices will make you wait to activate an idea or a vision because they want time to process it. Let's really think through the variables here. Let's really get a plan together. Let's let people, think about their own idea before they share it out. Think about how you would produce it before you have to answer questions on it. I don't like to share ideas right away, honestly, because a lot of people go, oh, are you going to do this? Or are you going to do that? And I feel like that doesn't allow my brain to process on its own, right? People help problem solve it. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. That's a beautiful thing if you want it. But sometimes I'm not ready. Have you ever not been ready to share your idea or vision right away, right? I love this. We need the dark in order to appreciate the light. Guys, I'm not paying attention to the comments as much as I should be. So thank you for commenting. I will come back and read them for sure. Yay, Lisa, do you like strawberry or grape? I need to know. I'm a big strawberry fan. I got to be honest. Seeds, right? We talked about seeds, guys. I'm sitting in front of my plants right now. And on this day just came 2 years ago. I started this plant journey where I first broke off the plants from Mr. Omar's baby, the one I was babysitting for him. He was moving from state to state. And it was 2 years ago this week that I decided, okay, I'm going to start taking some of his life from his plant and making it more plants. Well, now hundreds of plants sit here. And I'm trying to imagine, because I'm looking at these arms of these plants that just keep growing more plants and more plants. And I'm like, And I don't do much. I just let them rest. I feed them water once a week. I pour water into these guys. I mean, they sit in a room that's active. There's lots of talking here. There's lots of music and play and fun. They live with the family. But beyond that, they just sit and rest. They enjoy the sun and they hang out. They're living my vacation and my retirement dream already. They're being taken care of and they get food and water on demand. Hearts. All right. So for those of you who don't know, mine has been poked out a few times, couple bruises there, been beat up by life a couple of times over. And truth be told, I needed rest every time. That's part of why I started the rest. The reason I am finger quotes resting now is because my mom passed. And then within 30 days, my client passed. And with 30 days of that, the business closed. There was transition after transition after transition. Started a new business. That one closed less than a year later. Stuff outside of control. It's nothing we could have really avoided beyond maybe additional conversations between me and the owner. But even then, guys, life happens. And it was post-COVID, and it was a little bit harder to get things off the ground than most times, right? And so life happens. I went into a period of, hey, let me just focus on me for a minute. Let me just not be the one solely responsible for everybody else's income all the time. And that was cool. But it was because my heart was sad for my mom's loss, my client of 8 years being gone, the baby of the business that I helped build out, having to close because of a contract pulled off the internet. It was just a lot. But here I am in fourth place nationwide. Here I am getting ready to have another community event that when I first took over this business, there were 14 people who showed up to the community event. Last month, I had 87 bikes. That doesn't count humans. We just counted the bikes because they moved a little less. They stayed stagnant a little more so we could count them. And that's huge growth, guys. Especially since all we're doing is playing games and cooking some food and just hanging out. We're resting in a parking lot. It's not even anything super major except a community rest in front of the place they like to buy from. Reputation. Oh, man. Guys, have you seen the news lately? I don't even want to get into what you've been watching, just yes or no. Reputations come and go, right? And sometimes being quiet changes things. I remember a few years ago, there was a couple, and I don't want to get into who, but there was a couple all over the news for months. Reputations being destroyed live on television and the world just following along, tweeting right there, like posting TikToks left and right, right? Somebody else's reputation up for debate at all times. When I consult my clients, people who are public officials, right? We're here, guys. We're publicly sharing our lives. Even though we may not be as big as some of the other people you have seen, it's a growth thing, and there's humans watching. And so when there's maybe some stuff that's not so positive happening out there, I tell them just be still. Slow down. Slow down to speed up. Just be quiet. Because there are some things you want to go and clear up, and sometimes you don't need to address those things, right? If you had to respond or react to everything anybody ever thought, felt, or said about you, you would lose ground. You'd lose traction on your own life. I think about Kim Kardashian. If she responded to every comment about her that she didn't like, how much work would she get done? Even her ex-husband, same thing. We've seen some of them respond. It doesn't work well. So you just sit back, take a break, come back fresh. I have seen recovery stories, right? Macaulay Culkin. For a long time, he wasn't doing so hot, and his reputation in Hollywood was one of concern, and there was some stuff out there, right? And now he's healthy and he's doing a ton of things, and I think that's cool. And I'm not judging. It's just he was the first person that came to mind. It wasn't necessarily a bad rep, but he wasn't looking so hot, and there was a reputation associated with not looking so hot in Hollywood. He rebuilt. He came back. Careers, same thing, right? I'm talking about taking a break from full-time entrepreneurship. I did it for a decade. Not full-time. I haven't. I've been an entrepreneur for a decade. I did full-time for 8 years. As long as I've been with this current employer at the motorcycle shop, I have not been just solopreneur anymore. But that is a break phase too, right? I'm resting. And by resting, I was able to create a new idea with a friend. And I was hanging out with this friend because I was resting. Right? I was taking time to be poured into on the internet, and I met this lady, Jackie, because of friends who are also pouring into themselves and others on the internet. Rest is an action. Just because you don't see the momentum doesn't mean it's not there. Think about the things you started and didn't even realize. Maybe you made a comment to somebody at lunch one time, right? And all of a sudden you come back and this idea had grown and you didn't even know that they heard that moment or that it was a meaningful moment to them. You're like, oh, I said that? That's cool. Like, it sounds like me. I don't remember saying that, but that was your catalyst. That's amazing. I got to be honest, guys, that happens to me a lot. Where I talk to people and sometimes I don't shut up for 2 hours. I talk. So actually, if you want to join the stage and join the conversation, I would love to have you tell me what do you rest on? How has rest helped you grow? Were you part of the books? Did you have to slow down and rest to write it? Have you ever told somebody to give it a rest? And why did you think they needed the rest? And truth be told, that the real question when people say this to me is, do you actually need the rest and you just wish somebody would give it to you? Because when you tell me to give it a rest, is it because you need a break? or I need the rest. Think about the times where you've thought this and what situations you've thought or heard it. When did it come up, right? How do you rest? When do you rest? When did you need it most? How do you pour into your own growth? What are you watering? Who are you watering? What are those things, right? I made this and I truly believe it. Maybe we could even swap it around, right? Just flip it, swap circles. Success equals rest. We've talked about that vacation being a sign of success, right? That's what that rich man was trying to invite the fisherman to. Like, well, if you're successful, you can rest. Well, he's going to rest after just a couple of fish. He doesn't have to catch 10,000 to rest. He's going to rest after 5. His family only needs 5 to have that same barbecue, the same experience on the same beach. I mean, guy, I live here. You're visiting, right? What if the fisherman said that in his brain? Think about it. Ooh, I like this. Rest allows your mind to relax and think strategic, creative, and differently. Absolutely. It's all the things. And so honestly, come back to that question, guys. When are you most creative? I'll be honest, I wish it wasn't the answer because it doesn't seem appropriate for LinkedIn, but it is in the shower for me. It's when I'm in my bubbles, I'm at play. There's something fun for me when it's like my hair is just a hair full of bubbles and it's tingling the brain kind of thing, that sensation on the scalp. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm massaging the brain. I'm working that head space and just getting the blood flowing. But it is a quiet time, typically tech-free. I can't say all the time because I do sometimes do both. Usually for music, if I'm being honest. But it's that space, that creative, quiet space. I also really love to just get into headphones, make my own world happen, right? I love to, and I blame my teachers now, but I love to be in a corner of a room kind of facing the wall. My desk is at the window and I'm looking out. It kind of gives me a world to look into. It's framed up. It's actually visually very appealing for my brain. And I just can let it drown as long as I have my headphones on. I don't feel the rest of the world around me and I can focus. Sometimes I have to take a rest from even the visual stimuli in the room. Turning myself into a corner, into a cubby. I have found myself working best sometimes in the public library. When I go and I sit in one of those little cubbies they give you for homework time or workstations where I feel like I'm back in the school setting. I'm resting in a silence that's public, but not silent, but quiet. Where I'm not alone because I really like to co-work as somebody with maybe some of that ADHD stuff happening. I really like to be mirroring that energy and working in a space where others are working. I like that feeling. So I rest from even my own space at home where I rest. And I go out in public sometimes, right? It's that thing where you have to transition your norm. Rest is different. It doesn't mean to stop moving. It means maybe to move differently. Annette says, I found myself making mistakes, major, left a few belongings in another state and it took me 4 months to realize it. I said, okay, this is what Melissa is talking about. Slow down to speed up. Yes. Yes. Guys, and build it in, right? Because how many of you travel? I mean, genuinely, I know not everybody has that capability, but how many of you have traveled for work? Maybe you travel more than 2 times a year. I mean, even if it's twice a year, do you have a plan? Are you one of those people who's like, okay, I'm to the airport 2 hours in advance. This is what I do when I get to the airport. This is how I pack my bag. And for Melissa, I'm going to be honest. If I'm going to the airport, this is how it works. I plan the trip. I make sure that I know when I'm going. A week before, I write down a list of everything I want in my bag. I also plan for the return. That's the thing a lot of people don't think about. I'm carrying one bag over. Am I going to need to bring one bag back? 2 bags back? What am I doing? So for me, thinking ahead, how am I packing the bag? When I come back, how am I packing the bag? I'm doing a double plan there. That week goes by. I let the list grow. I set it right there on the nightstand or the desk or the bed right next to the bag. And I just let it keep going. And every time I think of something else, I write it down. 3 days before the trip, we go start putting this stuff in the bag. It gives us a good visual example of where we're at, right? We're double checking the checklist. It activates more thought processes of my brain to have that bag start to be packed. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't pack this yet, right? So I get it all packed up. Night before, I double check the list again. I make sure the flight hasn't changed. I start taking screenshots of things or pictures of things that I need. If everything gets lost tomorrow, do I at least have backups of certain things, right? Do I have somebody who can get me a copy of a key? Do I have a backup photo or copy of a license or something that says who I am in case, right? I think our tickets, all that stuff, guys. Then I think about when to arrive at the airport. If they tell me 2 hours, I'm already mad at them because I know I've stood in line for almost that time and still been panicked at the end because it's not enough time for some airlines, some airports. So I like to show up earlier. I also like to eat at the airport. I don't want to eat before. It's usually something you're trying to rush. Then you got to clean up. It's another thing. Sometimes we eat on the way, but it's not as good to like fast food wise. I would rather just sit and eat. Sometimes we'll take the food with us packed up, right? Some sandwiches or something before the flight. We eat it before we go through security, or we do it on the other side. If I'm doing a flight and it's just solo, I would love to show up early, get through security, get maybe a coffee and some sandwich or some egg bites or something, sit in the massage chair for a few minutes, get a good massage, some relaxation, that rest before the next leg of the trip. Plans. People think I'm like a little extra for going an hour early, but you know what? I'm going to play my Candy Crush or whatever either way, right? I am. Where am I going to do it? Maybe at an airport. So what if I get stuck talking to strangers? That might be my next best friend on LinkedIn. So what? Resting at the airport is an opportunity too. It's a unique environment. If you're a people watcher, resting at the airport can be fun. So just thinking about different ways you can rest, even in movement. How do you move forward? How do you plan for success? And checking out. When you travel, do you give yourself time to rest? Do you say, hey, I'm going to be up, but then I'm going to have breakfast and I'm going to take like an hour before I go to the airport. Maybe we'll stop by the local store, pick up one last trinket. Maybe we'll stop by the local park, take a few pictures. Do you plan rest the morning of? Or is it go, 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 go? I hope I make my trip. What about for work every day? Do you wake up running? You hit the alarm and just go back to bed until you have to race to work? If I'm not 15 minutes early, I'm already late in my brain because I want 15 minutes to sit in my car before I have to go inside now. Not that I need it, but if I want it, I want it. Maybe I want to talk to my friends still. Maybe I want to play a quick game. Maybe I just have an idea I need to jot down after I just drove in traffic and got stuck and thought, oh man, that lady lost her mind when that guy cut in front of her. Ooh, mindset. And then I have this whole idea for a show and I need 15 minutes to document it. Okay, guys, I want to share this link. What's coming up for you? How do you rest? When have you rested and found success by resting? Has it happened? Like I know there's signs when you haven't, right? And I love that Annette shared that she had left something in another state, didn't even realize it. I saw a post on Facebook the other day, same thing. Hey, any riders going through the city? My wife left something very important in a different town and we're trying to get it back. Ooh, I like this. Gregory says, it took a minor rest day after having 7 days of taking over 10,000 steps. Wow. That's 70,000 steps in 7 days, guys. That's huge. Resting for me, I I can't sit still too long. I like to shift in my rest. And I got to be transparent about it because rest looks different for everybody. And I want to make sure that you don't forget that. My rest may not be your rest. It may not, really, right? Taking a shower may be the last thing in the world you want to do. It could be the hardest task of the day for some. And genuinely, I've talked to people where that is the hardest. That is not rest. That is the biggest action they're going to take for the day because life is depression for them sometimes. And depression has its own traits of making things hard and, not making things feel as successful as they could feel. And so being mindful, I don't want to determine that for you. I want you to determine it for yourself. What is success? What is that goal for you? When I ask people to do their first step of a Venn diagram in my coaching, one of the very first prompts I give them is, who are you today? Good, bad, and ugly. Like all of the bullet points, what makes you you? And if I quickly start thinking about Melissa, like I'm a coach, I'm a consultant, right? I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a business leader. I'm fun, I'm bubbles, I'm colors, I bake, I have debt, right? I have a car payment, I have credit card bills. There's debt there. So those are things. I'm an educator, I'm a sister. I like to garden, so I'm a gardener. Those bullet points add up. And good, bad, ugly. The next one, who would you be as a 5-year-old billionaire on a Saturday? And I ask that question. That is the rest question. Because if you're a billionaire, think Richie Rich. If you're an 80s kid from the US, you probably did, right? They don't want for much. If they want for things, it's not for monetary things. And if they want it, they can have it. So what would it be? On a Saturday, what would you do? And I've had answers come back from clients that were like, I would have Gordon Ramsay teach me how to cook a hamburger. I'm like, wow, 5-year-old billionaire, Gordon Ramsay, side of the pool. That's amazing, right? Why? Why Gordon Ramsay? What's going on? And I dig into the answer. And eventually what it gets to is this person just really wants to be a chef when they grow up, right? And it would be super cool to have this guy come teach me how to make a burger on a Saturday because I can't really work. You won't let me answer for work. But it would be cool to have my friends hang out with Gordon Ramsay for that reason. I'm like, okay, cool. How do we get Gordon to your barbecue? And then the eyebrows furrow, right? What do you mean? Why would Gordon Ramsay come to my barbecue? Well, why not? He comes to a lot of people's spots. Like he's invited to events all the time that he attends. I've seen it. There's pictures. Why not you? And when we dive into it, it's because we don't think it's a possibility. Okay, so how do we strategize a possibility out of something that's not a reality? Well, Melissa's good at that. Are you ready? Uh-oh, wait, ooh, bells are ringing. My alarm went off. Hold on. Hey, it's 7 o'clock, guys. This is the time I was supposed to tell you can join the stage if you haven't yet. But let's say you want to meet Gordon Ramsay. You want to make that a reality. How? You get your butt in the kitchen. That would be the first tip I would give you is if you want to meet Gordon, meet him where he hangs out. If I had to figure out where he hangs out most, I could try to figure out his vacation spot, which I don't know if he'll go back the same place twice. I don't know him well enough to know that. But I do know he'll go back to a kitchen. He will be in a kitchen again in his lifetime for sure, probably will forever, every day till he can't, right? So if I can be in a kitchen, my likelihood of finding him in a kitchen is higher. Great. Then what? Well, maybe we get strategic about which kitchen. Do you know he has schools, right? We can apply to be in his own schools or his own restaurants. If I want to meet Gordon working for a Gordon Ramsay enterprise or whatever his business brand is legally, would definitely help bridge the gap a little bit, right? What if I became number 4 in the Gordon Ramsay empire of businesses instead of the one I'm in now? Likelihood increased. What if he has a way for employees to reach out to him at any time? Even higher increase. I won't know until I'm in. I won't know what the contact looks like, right? But as I strategize what I want to do, as I realize this 5-year-old wants to be a chef with Gordon Ramsay somewhere or hang out with him, or at least be in the same realm, I can move towards that goal because I know where he hangs out. I know how to get somebody into a kitchen. Heck, I could probably even help you figure out how to get on the next great television show that he's going to do before chefs, right? We can figure that out. There's a strategy. There is a method there. So if you were to take the circles and do the good, the bad, the ugly in circle 1 for you, and then circle 2, ask yourself that. What would you do as a 5-year-old billionaire on a Saturday? What would you do with your friends if anything was possible? And be mindful, it's Saturday. You're a good boss. You don't work the weekends, and you would never ask your staff to really do that, right? You're a good boss. Richie Rich was always really nice. You don't get to start any new businesses today because you're 5. They're just not today. Monday through Friday, your schedule's written. We said so, right? You're still 5. What do you do? And how do you do it today as a person you are without having to go back to 5 or without having to be a billionaire? Because I would hang out with my friends and I would talk about stuff and I would probably help them with their cool idea, right? If they wanted to build a rocket ship on a Saturday, I'm going to help. Here's the batteries. Here's the tape. What are we doing? Right? And so for me, I'm kind of doing what I would always do. I would talk with my friends, hang out, and figure out how to make their fun more fun. Their passion, my passion. So I do it now. And I do it for free and I do it for pay. Saturdays, I do it for free. It's a rest. It's a rest from my charging for this service. It's different. It's a give back. It pours into me more than pulls from me, right? Because to be honest, some clients pull. And not any of the ones I've seen in the comments, I'll be honest with you. It's not you guys, but there are some clients who have an excuse for every question. There are some clients who take more energy because maybe we're not 100% aligned and there was some alignment and then they're not, right? And that's okay. That's a truth. Even your children sometimes take more energy than not. That's not a bad thing necessarily, but how do you pour back in? For me, not charging, and it's every other. If I get one free, I give one, or get paid for one, I give one away free. If I get one away free, I try to go get paid for a next one, or I wait to give another one away until I'm paid. And it's a balance for me to make sure that I have good success. I don't overly give away. I don't overly take, right? I want a good balance. And people think, wow, you would make so much more money if you don't. You're right. But then would I be poured into? Because those free sessions pour into me. Rest is different for everybody. I got to come back to the comments here. Let me see. Girls 3-day getaway to Orlando coming up. We are at the beach celebrating life. Yeah. And that's been really experiencing some moments of life, right? 4 funerals between the 3 of us in 1 month. That's a lot. And she'll be the first one to tell you. I tell her all the time, slow down, take some rest. Are you resting? Are you getting a massage? What are you doing? And it's important, right? Oh, Sajith Kumar, we recharge phone batteries more than our mind, body, and soul, right? Your phone batteries get way more energy focused than you do daily. And I don't know how I would feel, and maybe you guys can answer this. How would you feel if your battery percentage was over your head? Sorry guys, my brain just went. I can imagine some of the people I see on this platform and their batteries right above their head. And I gotta be honest, some of my friends, they're rocking a good green solid. It might not be 100% full. I don't think any human runs at 100% all the time. If I'm not even me, not it, right? I'm in that good, probably 80% full. There is always a good, maybe even 20% that just, I'm thinking like 84 in my brain, 86% in my brain. But I'm like, no, a good 20% of me has to be dormant at all times. I can't function everywhere at all times. I can't. It's not smart to. But I would say I'm pretty charged. 4 out of 5, right? I've got good bars. How many would you give yourself right now in this moment? I'll be honest, in this moment right now on a Saturday, I'm probably closer to 95% charged. The only thing that's really bothering me right now is my hip wants a good massage and probably an adjustment, right? I just need to pop that left side. Beyond that, I'm feeling great. Now, earlier this week at like 5:30 in the afternoon, I was not feeling great. I was feeling at like 23%. I could just see it blinking like, hey, I'm on battery save mode right now. And so what do? I transitioned what I was doing. I was like, all right, I'm going to take a rest. I'm going to give it a break, and I'm going to come back to this thing because I'm feeling too much. It's not feeling good. It's feeling too heavy. When do you rest? What does it look like? I'm asking the questions because, guys, life is happening all around us all the time. And the thing that I know heals most is taking a break from it, right? You can't pick out a wound. You've got to let it scab over. You have to refill that teacup, right? You have to charge your phone. You have to put gas in the tank of the car. But when you do those things, does it take from you or fill you up? Like, are you jamming out to your favorite song at the gas station? Because I'll be honest, when I don't like to go get gas. It's not a big deal. It's a dumb task. I used to work at a gas station. It's not a big deal. When I was a kid, I did. I loved it back then, right? But it's a task. It's not fun. It's not really bad. It's just whatever. But as soon as I turn my music on and I have a really good song to pump gas to, I'm not pumping gas. I actually let it on, like I'm auto pumping it, right? And I'm just jamming to a song. Maybe I'm cleaning my windows instead. I don't have to just stand there and feel like I'm wasting time. I don't like to be on my cell phone by the gas pump because it says don't do that. And I worked at a gas station and you really shouldn't. So music up. I'm probably one of those annoying friends at the gas pump. Sorry, not sorry. But I'm going to enjoy the task, right? That song refills my cup while the tank's refilling. Instead of standing there regretting the fact that I have to get gas, which is so stupid. It's 2 minutes, but it's never 2 minutes. It takes time to get there. It takes time to get out. You pump it, you get back in, and then you can get off and do the next thing, whatever that next task is. So how do I fix it? I call a friend, or I turn up the music, or I do something else that's a little bit better. I like that instant gratification of dirty window, clean window. And I like to do half at a time. So first I'm short. I can't reach the whole window at one time. But the other reason is because I like the before and after effect. I like to slowly walk in front of the car and see one half clean, one half not, and know that I'm going to have a better experience when I pull away, right? So let's see. Gregory says he is at 3.75 out of 5 bars. That's not bad. All right, Gregory. Deb says, hi, I'm low. I had to take yesterday off. Okay. Deb, isolated in my room. Well, you're not isolated. You're with us, right? You're not too far gone because you can't be alone if you're here. So thank you for showing up for you. Also, thank you for being honest. I have days where I'm 0 bars. Nothing at all. And you know what? That's okay too, because it makes me really appreciate the good days. Something that I shared, and I'm gonna Google this real quick because I don't want to misquote it. I hate misquoting scripture, but this is one that when I'm down, I turn to. And when it came up for me in life was the morning and trigger warning, guys, we're going to get into some loss here. The morning my fiance passed away, I was 26 years old. We were 3 days before our wedding. And I called to let him know I was going to go get my hair and nails done and that I would see him in a few days. He was visiting his family in Utah. I was still in Arizona. We were going to do a small little ceremony when he came back. Long story short, he never came back. Right. And that day was tough, I called my Bible study leader and I just said, hey, I can't drive. You're going to have to come get me. I needed to get back home to Phoenix metro area. I was living in Tucson at the time, and I was not emotionally okay to drive for 2 hours. I just wasn't. I called her. She drove down. She got there really fast. I don't know how fast she was driving, but she got there really fast. And she drove us back. And I was just not sure what to do, think, feel, right? It was so fresh. And she's a nurse. She mental health certifications and some stuff. And also my Bible study leader. And so I was like, listen, you told me this God guy had my back and he was my dad and all these things and he loves me. And I don't know verbatim what I said, but I was basically saying I was trying to call her out like a liar. Like, you said all these things and that doesn't Venn diagram for me. And she said, miss, he never said it'd be easy. He never said it'd be perfect. And she shared this scripture, and it was Romans 5, 1-5. And if you're not a faithful person, that's fine, guys. This is what I turn to. This is me for me. And I want to share it for you in case you want it. If not, that's fine. But it says, peace and hope. Therefore, since we have been justified through faith, we have peace with God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we have gained access by faith into this grace in which we now stand. And we boast in the hope of the glory of God. Not only so, but we also glory in our sufferings, because we know suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us. So that was what she said. And I was like, okay. Right. But the more I chewed on it, because I wasn't mad at her, so I didn't want to take it out on her. I kind of just tried to tear this scripture apart. In my brain, I was chewing on it, is the best way to put it, with respect. But she also said something else which was really profound to me. And this is something that I like to rest in too, is that if you're a person of faith, God, and you believe God knows you, right? Created you. Of course, he knows we're mad. Of course, he knows we're sad. Of course, he knows we're not 100%. And truth be told, the same for any parent, right? If you have your kids, you can tell by the look on their face if they're 100% or at 50% or less. And it's okay to not be okay sometimes, right? We have to process the emotions. It's the why we're feeling that way. Why is my battery dying? Well, I have 57 tabs open in my apps or whatever. Like, have you ever done that where you hit it to see like what's all open and you see it's a million, so you hit close all and start fresh? That's how I feel with my body. My to-do list sometimes. Too many yeses, not enough nos. Slow down to speed up also ties into my schedule for the yes. The yes to the nap you need that day, the yes to the new client call. But sometimes scheduling for the yes is scheduling a no time, like a do not disturb time. This is just me. And Deb, if you need a chat, please feel free to come up on stage, or you can message me and I'll send you my number. We can chat when I get off the live event. But don't be alone, guys. Being alone in your room under the covers is a cozy space. If it doesn't feel cozy, let's make it cozy. Get a friend, call a friend, get some hot cocoa, turn on a movie. Elf. Have you ever watched Elf in June? There's a reason Christmas in June happens. I also got to give you a heads up. If you're somebody on this platform, LinkedIn specifically, guys, and you're feeling a little bit not seen right now, I want to warn you that this is just temporary. LinkedIn goes through growth spurts. There's a lot of people not seeing the same traction they're used to. There's a lot of people who feel like their friends aren't actively seeing them or participating in their life. There are people who feel invisible. And I'm hearing it in many ways in different places. Some people directly stating it, some people mentioning it in commentary or in post. If you're one of those people, just know everybody is one of those people right now. A lot of people are feeling it. And number two, people are resting. Right now, June is graduation month. Lots of people get married in June. Lots of people have kids that are home for summer all of a sudden. They're on trips that they don't normally take. Teachers might be wrapping up the school year and not have any extra time to be on the platform right now. They might also be wrapping up for their kids to come home for summer, right? Businesses, different seasons. Some people are in their peak, some are in the not so peak. It really is cyclical, guys. And so if you're feeling the cycle of slowing down, opt into something. See what's not slowing down. If you're feeling you're too rested, right? If you feel like you're in an isolation zone because maybe you're not connected enough, maybe you're not feeling your friends pouring back into you, so you feel isolated, you feel alone. Let's get new circles of friends. And that doesn't mean we're just going to burn down the old friendships at all. That does not mean that. Try not to do that, guys. I've seen some of that too. I've seen a lot of burnout happening on the platform where people are just not acting their best selves. And it's because they're not resting. And if we're feeling negative feelings, I always want to assess the feeling, right? I don't like to apply solutions without assessing. But could it be you're just not engaging enough humans daily? Do you want people to engage you differently? It's really hard for people to assume a Melissa Houston type or even any of my friends down here in the comments, right? These are coaches and leaders. Why would we have bad days? We know all of it, right? We've talked about toxic positivity, and it is pretending that you're always positive, for sure. When I'm positive, I'm positive. When I'm not, I don't fake it. And sometimes they feel like, oh, well, she just turns it on when she wants to do. No, sir. This is fake. This is facts. This is who I am. Right? I'm a human. Sometimes I get hangry. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm super happy and I'm like Snow White and everything's perfect and the birds are chirping and it's great. And sometimes it's the opposite. Wicked Witch is on the way. And why? It varies by day. Sometimes I push too hard. Sometimes, even though I love everything I do, working too many hours doing the thing I love too much is just like being at Disney too long. When's the last time you slowed down to assess why you're feeling what you're feeling? Good or bad? It all matters. But can you replicate a process you don't understand? No. If you really enjoy the happy feelings, how often do you assess the good stuff and what brought them? Just here, knowing you guys are listening, knowing that somebody might just take an extra day off this week. Even my boss, I'm going to call him out. I don't know if he's listening, but we're connected here. So are his bosses and bosses. There's layers to that. But I told my boss one day when he was talking about how much PTO he gets after 20 years with our brand, he gets so much PTO, he can't even use it, he said. And I was like, well, you should try. And he just looked at me kind of funny. And I was like, listen, why would I want to be you when I grow up if you don't get to use your PTO? And his face shifted. It was a perspective shift. He was just trying to do a good job and being supportive for the team. But reality is there's more than one thing to do in that role. The other thing to do is to lead by example. So we want to be you one day because you're our next step. Right? On a corporate ladder, that's where we are. And so we had a quick talk. I'm that girl who will ask my boss questions like that. But then he actually called me out in the meeting and said, hey, guys, I just want to thank Melissa. She doesn't even ride, and she's the only one who told me I should go riding this weekend. So thanks. I'm here. I'm riding. He's riding again and that was a few weekends ago. He's doing it again now. And I love seeing he's doing it. He even said, guys, go take care of yourselves. Go take some time off. Go put in a couple of days. It's been a good summer run already. Go do it. Beautiful, right? So if you're feeling it, are you taking your own medicine? Are you leading by example? Do you have people in your corner who would call you out like that? What does rest look like? Guys, do you want to join the stage? I'm getting to the point where I genuinely feel like I might be running out of things to say all by myself. So if you have questions, drop them in the comments if you don't want to join today. If you do want to join, feel free to message me on LinkedIn and say, hey, I want the link. But some good questions, some stuff to think about, right? First of all, how are you feeling today? Check in with yourself. Are you in need of rest? And if you are in need of rest, is it genuine sleep? Or do you need to take a break from one thing, facet, pillar, piece of what you've got going on? Even in faith, like getting back to my faith, my pastor of the church that I have attended forever, virtually now that I don't live in Arizona, I've just carried it with me. He would take a sabbatical, like a forced time off almost, like the church required it. So they could double check how the business was running without him, right? Because it is a business. And so he could go refill himself. And he would take these trips to different parts of the world to stand where the stories took place, right? Where he could explore his faith firsthand. And that gave him the energy and the gusto to finish the rest of the time, the next year. If your team can't survive without you, we're in trouble. Even your family, right? We were joking and laughing about me when I was co-writing these books with my friends. I may not have been hitting my deadlines on time. Exactly. I'm a busy girl. And to be honest, I was always late with my homework. I'm not now, but this felt like homework I had self-assigned. And so I was giving myself too much grace. It was also one of those things that I knew what I was going to write about, and it felt super heavy. And so I was scared to kind of sit down. Every time I sat down, I didn't get the rest I needed. I didn't get that space because either the phone, the clients, I don't care what it was. It could have been, the truck outside just being a little too noisy for me to focus, whatever it was. So I had to go to a hotel room, and I rested for a few days by myself in that room to finally get it done. There are times where I have to rest from the show. Like this month, I'm taking a week off because I want to go to the concert and not have to worry about showing up for everybody else for 2 hours that week. I'm going to sleep in, and I'm going to enjoy the hotel, and I'm going to eat breakfast in bed in the hotel room, and room service style, right? Because it's a nice hotel. It is. And then I'm going to go walk Seattle with the family. And that's a huge variation from what we do normally. I don't do room service all the time, guys. It's a beautiful thing. We've done it a few times, but it's not in every hotel visit experience. Sometimes I take the food to my room. Sometimes I DoorDash like some others, right? Uber Eats, whatever. Sometimes I just pick up some snacks at the gas station on the way to the hotel, and I just eat Gardettos. But this time, I'm being intentional about how much action we're taking and what we're going to do. This time I'm taking rest from the show for me because it's time. I jokingly texted one of my friends yesterday and said, I should be at the beach today. But it was beautiful. It was like 80 degrees almost. And that sunshine, that beach style feeling, it was a nice rest from the Pacific Northwest chilly cardigan and beanies vibe. What are you resting from? What are you going to take a break from? What are you going to dive into in it as a new form of rest? Maybe you're going to dive into the pool and just sit on a floating little table of life raft, right? Like I can't think what they're called. Those, Maybe you're going to the beach. Maybe you're going to just go read a book in your bedroom. Maybe you're going to sit at the park and read. Take a blanket and just be outside in your own yard. Go sit on the porch. Call a friend you haven't talked to in 20 years. Ask for coffee. Take a rest from this life by going back to your childhood, by revisiting some of your childhood friends. When I go to Arizona, I can't wait for Jackie and I to drive through some of the spots that I grew up in, to be able to show her how close to my husband I lived my whole life without actually meeting him until we got furthest away from each other we had ever been. Couple of things I want to cover very quickly, okay? Without rest, you burn out. Burnout looks really bad. We've seen a lot of people lose themselves and their life because they are overwhelmed. They just don't see the hope anymore. There's some stuff going on where it just feels too heavy. And I don't want that to happen. So if you're feeling that way, please don't be alone. There are tons of resources out there. But I would love to be a resource for you, right? If you're, I got to look up these mental health numbers because I don't want to be wrong. I know that we've had some changes recently, but I think it's 999 in Canada. I think Soul Man says that, and Soul Man, if you're down there, let me know. But don't be alone, and I'll get you some emergency like contact mental health numbers if you need them. I would also be happy to talk to you. It's 988 guys in Seattle. I don't know if you guys are close. They say 911, but 988 is the suicide and crisis lifeline. And then there's different resources out here, and wherever you are, we can actually find facilities near you too. I'm happy to look. Happy to look. Some other quick ways you can take a break. Meditation. It can be something as simple as yoga, being still, taking breathing exercises, putting on one song where you just close your eyes through the whole song and just imagine yourself dancing. You don't even have to actually dance. You just close your eyes and pretend you're dancing through the song. Visualize yourself doing it, right? I've seen all of these things through therapists and mindset coaches and different people who like to do that. It's cool. Me, I do like to close my eyes and put music on. I like to sit outside and just be in the sun and close my eyes and put music on. I also just sometimes like to not have any music on and just be with my be outside in the nature sounds. And as a kid, that would be sometimes a bird and a horn, right? I lived in a city. They're different. But just that natural sound occurring outside of my house, my life, things that I'm not in control of. Just being aware of what's happening around me. How often do you slow down and watch other people? Genuinely just take in life. Going to the mall or the park, one of my favorite things to do is to, grab myself a little snack or a little drink, a smoothie, and just watch the families. I love to sit where like you're going into Disney store or something like that, where the kids, when their eyeballs meet the inside of the store, that moment where they realize, oh my gosh, we're going into the store, and they're so excited. My grandma was a big fan of Patsy Cline, and there was a song, If I Could See the World Through the Eyes of a Child. And it continues on to say what a wonderful world this would be. And it truly is, right? Because kids, they're just so genuinely open with their expression, their emotions, their experiences. They don't care to filter for you. If they don't like it, they're going to scream. If they do like it, they're going to squeal, right? They're going to screech. They're going to have a good time. And they'll let you know it. And guys, maybe you can rest from that face or that filter of not sharing that genuine emotion. Maybe you get excited and you're like, oh, I can't screech out right now that I got the new job. I'm just going to go, yay, and golf clap myself. At graduations, I've seen a lot of graduations recently where they tell you, parents, please wait to celebrate till the end. And then I asked my kiddo about it. She just went to one this week because of the high school here having theirs. And she said, no, my school actually gave time for the celebration. And they even had an opportunity for the student to share what they were grateful for on the stage. And so not only did they let the parents celebrate the student, but the student was able to speak into celebration that thing they wanted to share. And guys, give it a rest from being in control of it all, right? They're grown-ups now. They're graduated. What if we did allow them to just be adults for a minute and take responsibility for their actions and share a moment that they've earned for years with the people who care? Now, I'm not telling you, maybe there's, you don't want people to not have claps. Cool. Can we just agree that nobody should be clapless and we're all going to scream for the kid? Right. But let's not celebrate less. I don't know. That's just me. Maybe you disagree. That's okay. But that's where my mind went. Right. Maybe we take a rest from not having fun. I took a rest from how I do lunch this week. I have my assistant manager moving on. She's being promoted. And I'm really excited for her to do so. And I'm genuinely starting to miss her. She's starting to miss me. We're gonna get into it. Sorry, Sammy, if you're listening, I'm gonna make you a little embarrassed. But we've been talking about it, and now that she's going, we're really aware of how close we've become. And if you guys know what's happened through my time on location at this environment, the rest finger quotes that I told you about, we've suffered a few motorcycle accidents that led to loss of life. And they were really close people to the store, one being an employee and one being the boyfriend of an employee. Both of them being friends of my assistant manager. All of them being like a family. There's other employees that work there too, also feeling this, right? Sam was not alone. Sam's just the topic. That said, my assistant manager did amazing things, and we got close during the slow times. I just poured into her. I trained. I gave her what I would want to have given to me, right? Like, be the person you needed. I had gone through comparable when I was younger, and so I understood that kind of profound loss. I understood being so close to death, and caring so much about a person and not being able to genuinely understand how to process it all, right? And so we worked on it and we became closer. And they say don't have friends at work, but that happened. It does. At my shop, it's hard not to be friends because everybody's a family in a motorcycle shop. And that's something that I love being part of. Even though I don't ride, I'm mom to so many. Even the ones that are older than me, I'm the shop mom. I'm the one that pokes at you when you need a new tire and tells you to save your own life. And they genuinely respect that concept because they know what we've gone through, right? So all of that to say, Sam and I have been appreciating each other's space a lot, and knowing that it's coming to an end, we've spent more time on lunches together. Even when she's off, she's showing up. And she came with her car and she's like, hey, will you talk to me while I clean up my car at your lunch? I was like, sure. It's that ADHD collaboration thing. But I'm outside in the sunshine enjoying it, talking to her, and she pulls out a paddle and a ball. And all of a sudden, we are just playing like racquetball in the parking lot. It's not racquetball, but you know what I mean? It's not tennis. There's no net. We were just having a good time. And I felt like I was 5, playing in the yard with a friend. The way she laughs and giggles and engages makes you feel that way. And genuinely, I took a rest from work with people I work with. And we took a rest from our traditional style of hanging out and relationship to do something different. And it was beautiful. And I thought about that, like team building exercises, as somebody who's done coaching and training of teams, working with businesses to make collaboration happen, right? Even with Jackie and the emotional women and the emotional training we're doing, these are the kind of things that need to happen. The play, the engagement, the getting to know each other outside of how she expects the spreadsheet to be formatted or what the to-do list for work looks like on a weekend, right? Real life engagement, taking a rest from just executing the to-do list and figuring out why the to-do list mattered in the first place. Why was I there engaging with this human? Because I wanted to pour into people behind me. I wanted to take a rest from having to lead the way in a formation of businesses, and I just wanted to form the humans that will form the next businesses. It's a shift of gears, but it is rest. It's genuinely a different kind of rest for me. Now, did I get rest? Yes, from some things, right? Yes. Is it restful to have experienced what we did in the storm? No, there was a lot of stuff going on there. It was heavy. But do I feel rested? I do. It's a different kind of feeling because it's not what I did for a decade, right? For almost a decade, I lived a certain life. Now I'm living a different life. And I was super body rested when I was at home because I worked remotely since 2015, right? And then I took this job on, and that's when it ended, the remote work only. And then my body got in shape in ways I didn't even know I could. And that was fantastic. I rested my mind and my business and the things that were constantly on when I was doing solopreneurship as the sole form of income for me, as the majority income for the family. Now I have a place where they'll pay me to go hang out with Jackie. I get PTO, right? Rest in action. So, guys, what's coming up for you? I see, Gregory, you want to join the stage. Happy to send the link here. But I want to come back quick. Karen says the sun is definitely therapy for me. Guys, it gives you vitamins. You don't even have to take your medicine. If you stand in the sun, you get vitamins. Well, take your medicine if your doctor says. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. But no vitamin extra, really, right? Like, how do you get it? Up here, they actually recommend we take a vitamin D supplement because we don't get as much sun as others, and it changes your mood. Seasonal depression comes from, there's science there. Go figure it out. I don't want to teach it. Michael says he's on a walk now in the rain. I love walking in the rain. I also love dancing in the rain and doing like cartwheels. That's one of my favorite things to do in the rain. How are you resting this week? I'm going to send this out. Also, guys, I want to tell you, there is no show tomorrow with Felipe because we're a bi-weekly show, but I expect to be back next week with Careers, Chaos, and Coaching. And then I will tell you once again, the week of the 26th, I will not be here. So we have 2 more episodes that we will do. And then the week of the 26th, 7th, and 8th, I am going to be in Seattle on location, hanging out. All right. Sorry, I am multitasking here, guys. Here comes the link. Gregory, remember, no cameras on Melissa's show because that's just how we roll. But also, do you guys, what's coming up for you? Deb, are you still okay? Are you around? I want to talk to you. I want to send you my cell phone number. Do you guys have anything that's coming up? Like, what is that rest for you? What are you feeling heavy about? Do you feel like you need rest? Is it personal? You don't have to even give details, but do you feel like you need a professional break? Do you feel like you need a personal break? When's the last time you went out on a date with yourself? Do you ever get alone time? Because that's another big one for me. I don't feel rested if I don't get quiet time by myself sometimes. That's why you catch me up so early in the morning. That's why sometimes I'll wake up and I don't even start texting or talking to people yet because it's still my time. And I'm going to age myself right now and I'm happy to do it. But we were just talking about rest on technology at work. And I know we talked about it on a show last week. I don't know which, so sorry if it was yours, but it could have been one of mine. So I'm just going to go with it. But talking about the old school rotary phones. Who remembers rotary phones? The one where you put your finger in it, you spun the dial, and then you had to let it go and it went, and then you did it again. And if you misdialed, you had to start all over, right? It was a pain to do rotary dialing. It was a circle and you had to wait for the clicks and it was great, but it wasn't. The reason it was great was not the rotary. The reason it was great was the boundary setting it allowed. And if you know rotary phones, these things weighed like 5-10 pounds. It was something that you didn't want to drop on your foot. Grandma had a whole special spot for it. It had to be a good table because that was a heavy phone. But the value for me and the part that we were giggling about was the boundary setting it gave. And it was the slamming it down when you were done on the phone. Now, I don't recommend hanging up on people. But even if you said goodbye kindly, with respect, rotary style, like, I'm assuming there's some good phone manners there, right? Even if you did, when you hung that up, there was just some power behind the clink. And then the secondary set of power was when you then picked it back up and just left it off the hook. And for a minute, you would hear this tone, this beep, 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 because it was trying to warn you, hey, do you know your phone's off the receiver? It's off. The receiver's off the base. And then after that, it would just stop and it would go silent and your phone couldn't ring through. Nobody could call you for the rest of the night. And guys, that is rest from conversation that grandma could have and did. That a lot of grandmas today don't set. Those boundaries aren't there, right? And I thought about that because my grandma had 7 children. 7. And then they had children. And then my grandma lived with my great grandmother. So if you are the great grandmother living with your child and her children just keep calling, at a certain point in the night, you go, no, phone goes off the hook after 8. And she would pull it off the receiver. And that's it, right? That was rest in action. I never thought grandma was rude for having boundaries on her cell phone time. So I'm going to ask you, do you think you're rude by having boundaries on your cell phone time? When's the last time you took a break from your notifications? We talked about how I like to live with my cell phone on silent. I will look at my phone throughout the day. Most of us do. We already know that. Why do I need it to beep at me to say, hey, look at me, when I know I'm already going to look at it a lot? Think about these things, guys. Also, Michael says, I remember party lines. I see Gregory in the background. I'm going to bring you up soon, Gregory. Hold tight for me. But Michael, I have to say, party lines were my favorite thing. That's what audio events used to feel like here on LinkedIn for me, was a party line. Everybody, for those who don't know, would call the same phone number. You would end up in a room with a bunch of other people and you would all talk, sometimes at the same time. And it was like the best speed talker won the front. It was almost like a rap battle without rapping. But if you couldn't just get in there and start speaking quickly, you would lose your space on the stage. And it was an interesting thing. Audio events kind of reminded me of that for a while. And that's what I loved about the audio events when they were here, because it felt like the party lines, but with a little bit more respect, a little bit more strategic communication, right? We could take turns. So thank you for bringing that back, Michael. And Gregory, welcome to the stage. Tell me what's coming up for you today.
Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, after walking, I basically calculated out 93,074 steps in the last 7 days, which was basically going from meeting some supporters for a soccer game, Canada versus Haiti, on last weekend, then followed up with a Valor soccer match, and then another soccer match, and then basically having a new AC unit installed and putting out a old queen size mattress. It was basically a whirling dervish type of a day, and I was about to have like a rest day yesterday and today, and on Thursday and today, but the AC unit was installed, so we just basically killed 2 birds with 1 stone and just head to the store and get get the groceries out of the way on Thursday evening or Thursday night. So basically, I will say today is basically kind of like my somewhat rest day to get ready to watch 2 CFL football games, watch WWE Money in the Bank, and basically see if I could stream my retro dance party Zoom call on my iPad on a big screen TV per se. So that's basically, I will say,
have a jam-packed weekend planned. I also have to tell you, Money in the Bank is going to be playing in my house. We're big fans over here, Gregory. I don't know if you knew that about us. My family has been watching WWE for a while, and
you nearly said WWF.
Don't say it. I don't need none of that heat. Don't say it.
Okay.
But yeah, no, seriously, since it used to be another form of brand altogether. And truth be told, I can't say I love all of the leadership that has been around that brand. I'm just going to be honest.
I agree.
I do love hold on. I don't want to, no, hold on. I don't want to lose this. Oh, there's a hummingbird here. Hi, hummingbird. It's just hanging out by my window. It's watching the show. I got to try to take a picture. Hold on. It's looking at me. All right, Gregory, we're going to keep talking in case it likes my voice. We're taking pictures of the hummingbird. I got it. Okay. But got to tell you, I love WWE because of what it did for women's wrestling. My daughter loved Bailey when she was doing Bailey Buddies. And guys, if you've seen those car dealerships with the like little guys that wave at you because of the air, it's those guys. And we got to have her meet Becky Lynch when Becky was the man with her first title. And it was the coolest experience. I love taking kids to these events because it really is dreamers. Who gets paid to beat up their friends in a ring for fun? Oh, those guys, right? And so totally dig it. I think, there's a lot of dreamers out there, and it gives kids an opportunity to really spend time with family and engage in a passion that's different. So I love that. Who's your favorite wrestler, Gregory? I got to know.
Oh, God.
Just one.
What generation?
Just one.
What generation are we talking about? It's
Any, just one, though. You have to pick one.
Okay, I'll give you one word. Queen.
Yeah, it's probably my least favorite one ever. If you're talking about a Flair, she's my least favorite one ever.
Woo!
Queen Charlotte is his answer, guys. I could tell right away. I don't like Charlotte Flair. It's hilarious. My husband's grandmother didn't like Ric Flair. I never got to meet his grandma, unfortunately, but apparently we both respond the same way when a Flair comes on the screen. So there's that.
Okay.
If I had to give the answer, Gregory, can I tell you who mine is?
Give me hints. I could probably guess.
Well, what if I told you my top 5 ever are mostly tag team affiliated? And so that's the only hint you get. Who's my number 1? If that's one hint I'll give you.
Kofi Kingston?
No, but I do love those guys. Jeff Hardy. I'm a big fan of the Hardy Boys.
Team Extreme. Okay. I could see it. Don't worry. I could see it.
The gloves all the way up, right? And Jeff Hardy back in the day, Hummingbird's back, guys. He definitely was one of those people who would get on top of ladders and do some extreme jumps and just like twist his body. And the energy was rad and it was just fun. And so for me, it was always that. I do have to say it's a struggle to watch some of your favorite performers experience injury and then they struggle with addiction because of injury. And that's the downside of wrestling. And I just want to put that out there. Like, I don't condone the worst parts of behaviors that some of my favorite people have done. But in his prime, when I was younger, he was my absolute favorite for
He's
sure.
on TNA,
I know. I keep hearing they're back. And my husband wants me to do all the others, but I don't have time to keep up with every segment of wrestling, guys, to be honest. It's just, I like rest, but I don't have that much. So Sunday's usually the day we get to sit down and we just stream everything we can that day. And we just make a whole family day out of wrestling and it's fun for us. So now you know more about me, Gregory.
Yeah. But the thing is, my Charlotte Flair is a totally different person off camera. I'll give you an example. Watch the WWE Chronicle on Charlotte Flair. She is basically night and day. She's basically...
Oh, listen, I'm not hating the human. I'm hating the character. And I don't want to stop hating the character, Gregory. Like, Charlotte Flair is probably a phenomenal human, and I'm not disparaging her. But as a character, she did a great job of having me not like her. Hi, Mr. Hummingbird. What are you doing? Sorry, guys. I'm so ADHD right now. I think it's almost time for the show to end, guys. But this hummingbird is definitely visiting, and it's pretty neat. I just wanted to rest in it. So Adrian says she used to watch wrestling every Saturday morning. Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, and Andre the Giant. Adrian,
she's dating herself. That's basically 1980s.
Hey, we're not talking about, you're not, no, don't do nothing. Don't do nothing. I remember watching Hulk
know.
Hogan too. Listen, guys,
That's WrestleMania. That's WrestleMania 1, 2, and 3 right there, basically in Madison Square Garden, New York City, right there. So
Gregory, too much data. Too much.
I know.
Listen,
I know.
I want to ask a question of the audience, so hold on for me. Who is your favorite wrestling character, guys? Do you have one? Have you ever watched? I got to be honest, in the 80s, it was really hard to hide from Hulk Hogan and Macho Man. Oh, yeah, and snap into a Slim Jim and all of this stuff, right? It's amazing to me how many facets of business that one passion project of somebody, one guy, right? Who's like, hey, I really like what's happening. Let me get these guys together. Let me do it. And people just kept pushing towards it. I look at John Cena. He was somebody who dreamed of being a wrestler his entire childhood. And then he got to be the wrestler and he got to do the things. And then he was the Make-A-Wish Foundation guy. Now he's fought or fighting cancer on his own. And they get to talk about this in real life and give back to society by sharing their story. And it's kind of what I do here. It's kind of what we all do on LinkedIn or YouTube or wherever you're watching the stream from. I just think living in your passion is a cool thing to do. I also know that those guys take rest days. They don't rest as often as most because they are a live event all the time. But when they don't rest, there's injury. And that's proven too. And they've talked about it. There's a whole segment on the WWE Network channel series about wrestlers and injuries and overcoming and coming back and how they had to come and go from the industry to really be able to find success. And so no matter where you are, guys, no matter what the topic is, no matter where you're at in life, humans have to take rest days. Humans have to find a way to play and have fun and work hard because we crave those things. We want to be successful. We want to feel the gold star effect of the job well done. We want people to tell us we did a good job for things. And really, you can do it for any reason. I watch TV and I see people playing pool, and they're not really playing pool, not with anybody else. They're playing with themselves, where they do one shot and all the balls dance all over the table and do really cool tricks. They get paid good money for that. And it's shocking that you would think that could be a job, right? There are clowns out there charging $150 an hour to be at a kid's birthday party. And all they're doing is blowing balloons. You could blow balloons. You could put on the outfit. You could tell little Timmy to have a great birthday. You could sing a funny song and honk a horn. You're just not doing it. Why? Because maybe you're not passionate enough to get it done. But maybe I just activated something in your soul and you're like, I want to do that. Have you ever seen the Harry Potter series? Maybe you've heard of it, right? Ron Weasley, ever heard of him? The redheaded kid in the story. When he grew up, after fame, after being successful, after being a millionaire a couple times over, he bought an ice cream truck just to drive around town and give kids ice cream for free because that was his dream. Think about it. He just gave away ice cream. He didn't need the money. He just wanted to be an ice cream man one day, so he did it. And nobody told him he couldn't because he wanted to, and he did. And you can too. Maybe you don't have the income he has. Maybe you got to save a little bit longer to get the dream to work. But can you? Yeah. You have my permission. If you've been waiting, you just got it. What dream did you put on pause before? Which one needs to come out of rest mode? What part of yourself did you hit pause on to be another part of yourself? Like sometimes I have to hit pause on my home life to do business life, right? I have to pause here to leave and go clock in over there. That happens daily. Is there any part of yourself that you've paused and maybe forgot to unpause? Right? Because I unpause it too. I leave there and I come home and then I get back into a different mind. Where are you? How do you pause it? How do you activate it? What do you want to activate? Think about these things, guys. Go take rest. Rest on the idea. Think about it. Do the things, right? You're allowed. Nobody's going to stop you but you, and you will be very successful at stopping you if you want to. Rest is success, but success is rest only if it's temporary. You can't rest forever and expect it to come. Kool-Aid Man, 80s kids, is not going to come through the door going, oh yeah, and grab you and take you to the new palace. He's not. It's not going to happen. But if you do this part, the grow seeds, plant, water, pour into yourself, you're going to go far. Gregory, thank you for coming. We got to go now so I can hit my deadline. But guys, come back next week. Make sure you're ringing the bell. Make sure you're following me on YouTube, because that's where they'll tell you I'm live when I'm live, right? Got to get out of here. Take care. We'll see you next week.
Sunlight creeps through my window pane. Dreams of stars, now a faint refrain. Coffee brews and thoughts collide in this early morning ride. Wake up world, let's start the day. Insight flows in a bright array. Questions dance like morning dew. In this space, it's me and you. Coffee chats with Melissa. Every cup is a whisper. Conversations open door. Spilling thoughts forevermore. Ideas bubble crisp and bright. Words take flight in morning light. Consult the heart, make it sing. New perspectives on each wing. Pour another cup of cheer. Every thought